Hello teachers. I was asked recently by a teacher if I could give a little bit of advice on the first assessment task of Essential English here in Queensland. Now this task is related to a unit of work called Language That Works. So this video is for essential teachers in Queensland. But other teachers, in fact, all teachers might be curious to stick with me because the focus of the video is also on student choice with unit planning and assessment. What I mean by that is looking for opportunities where we can open up the flexibility of curriculum to tap into student interests, student passions, as a way to increase their engagement. This is something I have found has worked incredibly well for me over the years. I've been teaching Essential English now for over 10 years, and I have found that with these little tweaks and changes, you can increase students' intrinsic motivation. They can attend class more regularly and produce better work. And underpinning all that is hopefully you've got happier kids who are enjoying learning. So how I've designed this is to show you the 3 tasks that we do in year 11 for Essential English. I might make a grade 12 video another time. But I've mapped it out here. We've got unit 1 and unit 2. And within these units, we do 1, 2, 3 assessment tasks before they go into grade 12. Our first task is a business pitch, and unit 1 is about, look, it can be really, really dry. It's called Language That Works. Frankly, it can be quite boring. I have seen a number of schools do, to be honest with you, kind of boring tasks at times. And even I had a very boring task a number of years back where students did some sort of information session about workplace protocols, procedures, harassment, bullying. Really important information, yes, but I think that the task was quite boring. I know this because the kids were not super engaged. I have seen the Careers Expo task a number of times. If it works for your kids, great. I have found in my own experience early on in Essential that model didn't really hook kids because I found that simply discussing a job, what you'd earn, the qualifications you'll need to get that job, I didn't find it creative enough to kind of get the real deep learning that I'm looking for in my class. I wanted something that would tap into student interests more, present them with an opportunity to learn more skills creatively, and prepare them for the real world in terms of creativity and imagination. So stick with me, let's have a look. So our first task here, this is the same student, remember, the whole way through. And this student is obsessed with jiu-jitsu and MMA. So unsurprisingly, just a screenshot here of his business pitch. Unsurprisingly, his business model that the students pitch in their assessment is a company that's going to be about Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And it's going to help young people who may have mental health struggles. So he's designed a logo. I'll talk more about that task in a moment, where he pitches as an idea, sort of like a Shark Tank model, basing it on research. So there's some statistics involved. You have to prove that there's a problem that would be fixed as a result of your business. That is a spoken multimodal task that is persuasive as well. I mean, one must persuade the Shark Tank audience that the business would be successful. Next up, as part of the texts and human experiences unit, we have our students pick an Australian person who inspires them and write a feature article about them. A really accessible task here because you do encourage the kids to pick someone well known enough that there is information on the internet. So students have to thread together the information from the internet. Sure, they use Wikipedia. Sure, they use quotes from real interviews. But this unit is about threading together a story worthy of a feature article. So the theme of that feature article task is about overcoming adversity. So I encourage students to pick an Australian who inspires them, but ideally someone who has overcome challenges and adversity, which gives it a really good heart, that unit. Students really like to talk about how this person they admire got through the hard times. You can see again real world skills here in terms of even learning how to format. We have columns, we have a title, we have a byline. Kids are learning how to insert captions, etc. So the final product looks phenomenal. Unsurprisingly, this student who loves MMA has done Alexander Volkanovsky. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So far, this student is 6 months into English and he's suddenly going, English is cool. Wow, English can be really fun. Finally, we do in task 3 as part of that same unit on text and human experiences, a documentary analysis. So as a class, we watch 2 documentaries. Students can pick one of the 2. If they're really not liking either, they are welcome to pick their own and the teacher can just check that that's applicable to the unit. Unsurprisingly, this student just loved this one about this climber who does an incredible climb at Yosemite. Thrilling stuff. And this young man was really interested in the discipline that it took this climber to achieve something so remarkable. And again, that's hooked him enough to have fantastic attendance, to produce quality work, and absolutely to start enjoying English as a subject. Great, so let's look at a totally different student. Again, the same exact tasks, but the openness, the student choice is there to bring in more motivation and engagement in class. So this student did a business pitch that was targeted at helping young people, teenagers. It's called Youth Future. This student chose to do her feature article on Madeline Stewart, who is a really successful Australian model who has Down syndrome. Again, phenomenal formatting skills here. And this student chose our second documentary that we watched, which is Blackfish. So this is her documentary analysis. Our third student, now this is a student with totally different interests. So how is it applied to him? Well, he's really interested in fashion, rap music, sort of street style culture. And this student has developed a clothing line that aims to raise awareness about youth mental health. So he's partnering with Nike for this. You can hear those kind of entrepreneurial, real world skills developing. Thinking about who he's partnering with for this fictional business, engagement goes up because this is real world stuff that Sam is interested in. Number 2, his feature article, I believe his mum works in the entertainment industry, so he absolutely loved, he actually chatted to his mum a lot to write this beautiful, incredible piece on Daniel Johns from Silverchair. And he loves design so much that this student has used Canva for his final product of the feature article. So we're looking at magazines, we're looking at formatting, again, real world stuff. Finally, so Sam was more interested in the documentaries he's watching at home, and after quite a good conversation with him, I said, yes, I will let you do a Netflix true crime documentary to analyze, which he did a phenomenal job on. He also teased out some ideas there on how Netflix really dominates the true crime genre now, throwing bucket loads of money on countless murder stories, which, let's be real, the kids do engage with a lot of that stuff. So let's take a look at the language that works unit, because I think that's a really easy unit to be so boring. And I'll talk you through how we've kind of jazzed it up. So, looking at the syllabus here for Essential English, we have language that works. And as I said, this unit can lend itself to being really quite boring. Um, eh, and in my view, there are actually phenomenal opportunities to liven up this unit and help engage kids with real world skills. Back in the day, I used to do something along the lines of behavior in the workplace, safety and responsibilities. I made this god awful exam or something about workplace rules and protocols. Yeah, I think it was about conflict resolution. As I say, it's important information, it's useful information, but I know that I dragged the kids through that task. I don't think it was all that enjoyable. So, what I ended up looking at was I kind of merged a number of tasks I used to do. For instance, I used to do a project based learning task where students raised money and food items for the Brisbane Youth Service Centre. So they had to run an entire media campaign within the school to get donation items. Again, that's actually a pretty phenomenal task. Yeah, it's related to 21st century skills. If we look over here, it is related to the kind of types of opportunities and the skills required. And look at this, a range of technologies. So with the project-based learning task about homelessness, the kids had QR codes on their posters around the school that linked directly to donation sites. We had families bringing in food, canned goods, etc. And we even had a visit from the Brisbane Youth Service Centre to the school. We looked at using technology to shape meaning and to get a positive message out to the community. So that was a really cool task. With the task, I sort of merged it when I came to my current school and merged it with things such as ideas related to charity. You'll notice that all of the business models or business pitches that the kids do are tied to bettering the community in some way. I do not want an invention of, say, a new iPad case. I do say to the kids, I don't want you to invent a new phone case. Like, it has to have heart and it has to give back to the community. So then I've also tapped into this idea of entrepreneurial enterprises and even event management for this pitch. And students really lean into this because the skills required to do our work-related tasks are quite entrepreneurial. We're designing logos, we're designing a pitch, we are writing a mission statement, we are thinking about which established companies we will partner with. So I just bring this to light to remind everybody that there is a lot of really cool potential in this unit. Another idea for this unit is some sort of pamphlet that could be designed. Perhaps it's a careers related pamphlet that could be put up in the guidance officer's area of the school, or a social media campaign relating to perhaps work-life balance, a social media campaign designed to educate. So the sky's the limit with this. It doesn't have to be boring, even though it can lend itself to sounding a little boring. So if we look at the booklet that I do for this unit, it's the very first task that they do for their essential English journey with me. And you'll see I actually spend a couple of pages just literally connecting, finding out their hobbies, their goals, who's a hero they have. I already ask the kids if they're already doing a certificate or a vet course or an apprenticeship. Chances are a lot of them are. Top 3 tips for staying motivated in school. That's just a little getting to know you activity at the beginning of the booklet. Now let's cut to the chase. We do look at fabulous companies that already exist. And sometimes kids have heard of these, sometimes not. They are phenomenal. We just do a little bit of easy note taking here. We watch a couple of YouTube videos about these companies and we list what is at their core. I will just simply show you this page here where I get kids to think of community issues they care about in the top columns. some suggested ideas there, plus 3 personal interests that they have. And really the idea is to kind of link something from the top column with the bottom one to come up with a business idea. Now that could be something that is mobile, or it could be a physical space, it could be a program, it could be an awareness day, it could be an awareness campaign, it could be a new line of clothing that promotes an idea. Some of the businesses that the kids really find inspiring include Confit, which was started by a man in Sydney who did some time in jail, and that's a fitness company that helps men turn their lives around through connecting and looking after their mental and physical well-being. This is a new 60 Minutes episode about street soccer and the way that that has re-engaged people experiencing homelessness in sport and with the community. I look forward to watching that with the kids. And of course, lots of kids really enjoy exploring Orange Sky Laundry, which was started by 2 young Queensland guys. Okay, so I also wanted to show a couple more screenshots of brilliant assignments from the Language That Works unit. Again, we're honing in on student interests because the research is there. We know that when we can appeal to student interests, the engagement increases. So you can see there's a range of business plans that have come out of this unit that are so cool. This student was really interested in animals, animal welfare. This student, Bryce, I've always loved Bryson's dirt bikes, and that was an initiative to take young men struggling with their mental health on dirt bike retreats in the bush to help them with some mentoring and to connect with men in the community. Down here, I loved this one too, Will's boxing. Unsurprisingly, this student is obsessed with boxing. So we bring that into the Essential English classroom. You can see the professionalism of this assignment. They have to think strategically about which brands and companies they will partner with. Fantastic effort there. Screenshots here, this student was really interested in art therapy and how that can help with mental health. Finally here, some of my favorites. We've got Depot. This was really cool. It's from a few years back. You can see the student, part of the assessment is a mission statement, of course, a logo, phenomenal stuff. Kids do love this. And his company was sort of upskilling young men who've come from the, perhaps with backgrounds in crime, and giving them some tools and some skills to re-engage with the community. So Depot, love this one. A shout out to Sheridan from a number of years back. We did this together, the Pamper Van. She was doing a hairdressing apprenticeship at the time and really interested in beauty and self-care. So the van was to help disadvantaged women to access haircuts and pampering, essentially. And last but not least, one of my all-time favorites from a student from a number of years ago, the tradie truck. So this student already had an apprenticeship. He was on work sites with his dad. He had an interest in men's mental health. He ties it all together to be a proposal for a business. Love this slogan, the sun will come up tomorrow. And he's gonna arrive at work sites with food to encourage men to chat over some food and to connect, to hopefully support them with mental health. So that's it from me. I hope that that's given you a couple of cool ideas moving forward with your own planning. I appreciate seeing other people's planning all the time, so please let me know if you're doing cool assignments, because the kids just have so much potential, especially when they've got that element of choice as well. Take care, have fun.